Another very important concept of Alice is skills. Your assistants can have different skills. Many assistants can even have one skill in common and they can share this skill. You will define skills as separate prompts and they can be executed within the assistant. So let's imagine a marketing assistant that has different skills. For example, creating a social media post for X and maybe also drafting an outline for a blog, or maybe posting this blog post on your WordPress site, because skills can also be connected to your software. All of those little tasks can be executed with skills and can be predefined, so you don't have to explain what you want every time. You just press keyboard shortcut and you execute the command, so the skill that you want to use for this particular assistant. Let me tell you and show you how to configure skills and how to use them in your Alice app. Okay, this is going to be exciting because we'll create our first skill, and this skill will be pretty simple, but let's access skills first. So let's press Command K and let's go here and click on skills. Now we have the list of skills and we can manage those categories. We can fold them all, we can unfold them, preview, and I have quite a few skills, but this is just a demo account and surely you will have a lot more skills here. So what we need to do right now is create a new skill, and this skill will be an OCR skill. So those are capabilities for multiple assistants that I can assign this skill to scan and basically read what's on the image that I will provide. So I will show you some vision capabilities of models as well as skills. The description would be read the text from the image. And now the important part. We have to select the assistants that will inherit this skill. So we have to assign this skill to one or more assistants. In this case, I assign the skill to all of my assistants. And this means that I will be able to access the OCR skill from any of those. If you are creating a specific skill for a specific assistant, so for example, I have Rocio, which is my Spanish tutor, and for example, I want to create a skill that will let me translate everything that I paste into Spanish. That will be a specific skill for this assistant, therefore I won't be necessarily adding this skill to some other assistants, but this OCR seems pretty general and I feel like I could add it to most of the assistants that I have. Maybe not Spanish tutor, but all of the general assistants might benefit from it. So yeah, let's select one or more assistants and now let's select or create new category for this skill. For this case, I will have the images skills in the new category that I will add. So let's add category images, and this skill has been added to this category. Now the system prompt, the most important thing about the skills, and this is how you can think of them. Well, skills are just prompts that you can execute at any time. So imagine going to Claude or ChatGPT and asking every time about the same thing. So can you please read the text from the image for me, and then you paste the image. Well, this is the role of the skills. You don't have to do it every time. You don't have to, every time you don't have to give the context to ChatGPT or some other tool, because what you can do is you can create prompt that will be executed with the skill. The skill is the prompt, you might say, and this is where you put the instruction. So let me paste the instruction. Usually when we go to ChatGPT or some other tool, we are not that descriptive, okay? We just say translate to English, or we just say OCR the image. But this is not great instruction, and obviously we won't be bothering with creating such a detailed instruction every time we want to OCR something. However, with the skill, we set the prompt once and we can forget about it. So this gives us much more time to create a better prompt, more elaborative prompt, more insightful prompt that will just work better with our images. So here is the prompt for this skill. You are an advanced OCR system designed to extract text from images with high accuracy. Here are the objectives. The only goal is to process the image provided. Here are also the rules, and you can see that, for example, I also say that this is strictly forbidden to add some explanation, descriptions. I just want to get the text from the image. That's it. Then you have the rules, or always respond only with the text extracted. If there is no image, say something, specific and do nothing else. Preserve the original formatting, line break, spacing. So this is really good prompt, and I would never try to replicate this on an occasion that I just, casually chat with ChatGPT. While here I have also some examples where I provide the image and he says stop, when I provide the image with buy milk and he says buy milk and stuff like that. So basically this is pretty well formatted prompt. And now the options for the skill. So I can copy responses to clipboard straight away. And it's worth to turn it on for this particular skill, because usually when I paste the image and I want to OCR it, I want to then use it somewhere else. So I want this to be in my clipboard. Otherwise, I'd have to click on the button in Alice. But now when I enable this copy response to clipboard feature, it will automatically copy the OCR'd text into my clipboard, ready to use somewhere else. Then there is also single turn mode, and this is also worth considering in this particular case, because what it will do, it will ignore all the previous conversation that I had, and it will only focus on this last message that I'm sending. So basically it will focus only on the image, and it will ignore the past conversation in the chat that I'm having. So this is pretty crucial, because not only it will work faster, but it will also use less tokens. So I will turn single turn mode for this particular snippet. Then default online mode, I don't need it. I don't need to go online to OCR the text. Also, voice action is not needed here. JSON mode and remote actions, we will talk about those features later, because this is quite a bit more advanced prompts, skills that you can use for your assistants, but they are very powerful. They will let you connect to automation software such as Make or Zapier, and then you can talk with, from Alice, you can talk with any other app that you are using. So for example, you can easily add customers to HubSpot, or you can send an email or a Slack message. And this will all be possible with remote actions, and I have a separate lesson on that topic alone. Now we have a global shortcut. We don't really need a shortcut for this skill, but this is pretty useful. For example, imagine you have a skill that formats a text for you. So it fixes the grammar and maybe spelling, it does like a basic fixing for the text. And this is really useful to have this skill as a shortcut, so to add a keyboard shortcut to it, because then you don't even have to work with Alice. Alice is just running in the background, and you select some text, you copy it to the clipboard, you press the keyboard shortcut, and then if you have this copy response to clipboard feature enabled, it will automatically transform the text and copy to clipboard the better version of the text that you've created. So this is quite useful in many cases for skills when you don't want to go directly to Alice to execute something. Then, very important part, the model. You select the model, which in this case, it has to have vision capabilities. So it's very important to enable the model for this action that has vision. And I will go with the latest ChatGPT, the latest GPT model that I have available. Probably you will have more advanced models or newest models available for you as well. This is the consideration that you have to take into account in terms of costs, because, for example, if you have super simple transformations of the text, so maybe some classifications, maybe translations, things like that, well, you don't really need the greatest and latest models to execute those skills. It's enough if you go with some fast models or maybe some cheaper models, and this will still work great. Then you have the temperature, so basically the randomness of the output. Well, in this case, I don't want it to be creative. I do want it to be focused on the task, so I might get close to 0. However, in this case, when I have a detailed instruction that I've provided, it won't be hallucinating at all. But I can bring it down in this case to 0 or 0.1 because I don't want any creativity. Then I have top P parameter, whether it's more diverse or deterministic. In this case, really, you don't really have to bother about this. You can easily leave it as is. And if you want some broader control, I do recommend you to go to OpenAI's Playground and then experiment with this temperature and top P parameters so that you can have a prompt, and then you can compare the answers and see what fits you better and how this actually changes the answers that you expect from the model. Then there is listening language. We won't be using voice here, and the icon. So in this case, we might use like a simple icon. Maybe we have some image icon here, and let's create this skill. Now the skill has been created, and one more thing that I like to point out is when you go to assistants, you can also, from this particular assistant, when you edit it, you can see what skills it has enabled or disabled. So as you can see, my assistant doesn't have all of those skills enabled, but the one that I've added right now, OCR, is enabled. This is particularly useful if you want to enable all of the skills or most of the skills for certain assistants, because otherwise you would have to go to each skill individually and turn them on. And here you can go to assistant and just turn on all of those skills, or just click on this little icon to turn the whole category of, for example, social media skills for this particular assistant. I will leave it like this and save the changes. Now I'm talking to May and I want to enable this skill. Well, I have to press / on the keyboard, and then I will have the list of skills. That's the same as clicking on this little icon, choose a skill. So I'll have the same box. And as you can see, I only have 2 skills there. So this is pretty useful that I can decide whether I want to use particular skills for an assistant, and I can have multiple assistants that have only the skills relevant to what they do for me. And this is not cluttered. It's easy to browse and search. You can use keyboard shortcuts. You can use keyboard arrows to navigate up and down, and then press return to select the skill that you want to use. Once the skill is applied and it's ready to use, it will change the color to your accent color. So now it's ready to go. So now it's time to make a screenshot, and I can make a screenshot of this portion of the screen, just paste it here and send it out. And I should get the OCR version. And also it has been copied to my clipboard. So it's immediately put in my clipboard and I can paste it anywhere. This is how it works, and as you can see, this skill is still enabled. This is pretty important because you have to remember to enable or disable the skill after you stop using it. Now, please take note that the skill is still active. So Alice will still wait for the images and OCR them. This is pretty useful because, for example, if you have a skill that formats your blog posts, or for example, creates some messages for social media for you, you will be able to just paste some notes and it will still work. It for every answer, it will use this predefined prompt that is in the skill. But if you want to go back to chatting to the general knowledge of the model, you just press escape to disable this skill. So if I press escape, now the skill has been disabled, and in order to enable it again, I would have to press / and click on this OCR again. But once I press escape, I go back to the features that I had. For example, I had web search enabled, but basically this skill is now disabled. So this is all for basics of how to set up a skill and also how to enable and work with it within one or multiple assistants. Please remember that you always have to add this skill to the assistant, because otherwise you won't see it on the list. And it happens to me quite often. I can't see the skill that I want to use because I forgot to add this skill to my assistant. I will talk later about more advanced skills, which are remote actions. Remote actions will let you connect to automations and talk to your softwares. So you will be able to ask Alice to, let's say, give you the current stats of your websites from Google Analytics, or maybe current sales stats from Stripe from today, and it will connect to the specific service or API and return the answer. If you want to learn more about it, please see the lesson about remote actions. One more thing that I'd like to add, if you go to our library tab, you will be also able to browse through assistants and skills. On our website, there is a full marketplace of ready-made skills, and those skills can be installed in your Alice app. So you can install Assistant together with all of the skills that he has. So for example, Tony has different skills such as generating regular expressions and debugging JavaScripts and stuff like that. But if you want, you can install this skill only without installing assistant nor the other skills there. So you can install this skill and then you can apply, you can attach this skill to the selected assistants that you already have in Alice. So I recommend you check out the library, and I hope that you will experiment both with our skills and skills from other users, and also you will create your own skills. And maybe I hope that you will add them to our library too. Thanks for tuning in for this one, and I'll see you in the next lesson.